Being, Action, Result, Mindfulness in Ministry Masterclass. Who we are determines the actions we take, which determines the results we get. Think about it. Do we take actions that are inconsistent with whom we see ourselves to be? Authenticity is when your thoughts, feelings, and actions are in harmony, when we align our minds, mouths, hearts, and our feet. Inauthentic people are people who say one thing and do another, people who feel one thing but say another, people who think one thing but do another. How am I showing up, being interpreted, and influencing the outcome? Past, present, future. What's the state of your conversations? Anytime we speak of something that has happened, we are in the past. We are talking about the realm of results that have already occurred. When we make statements about something that is in progress or something that generates action, we are speaking in the present. Whenever a statement introduces or declares a new possibility, something that does not yet exist, the conversation is in the realm of the future. Past, present, future. Where will your speech acts take you? Past, now, or future? Being, action, results. When your conversations include explanation, story, description, interpretation, reasons, excuses, complaints, assessments, history, jurisdiction, success or failure, you're speaking in the past. When your conversations include action, what's happening, the facts, observable, speaking and listening or doing, you're in the present. When your conversations include dream, possibility, your word, invention, breakthrough, commitment, vision, or creativity, you're speaking in the future. We never take an action that is inconsistent with whom we see ourselves to be. Good morning, and welcome to another live session for Mindfulness in Ministry. Learn your ideal customer. I'm Coach Raquel. Minister Carl is with me, and will be completing the presentation today. Today we're going to be talking about recognizing your conversations in time. What is the focus based on time? What is the focus of your conversation, of the conversations that you're having most of the time? There are three key time zones with regards to what we're speaking about. You have the past, the present, and the future, right? The past, the present, and the future, which you can look at as memories, current activities, and your hopes. Sometimes we get caught up in the past based on memories, and we start the memories that we have of what we've done or where we've been or who are or what maybe we've lost sometimes take over our conversations and we get stuck in the story, right? Or sometimes we get caught up in the here and now, all these things that we have to do and the chaos of managing and handling everything that needs to be done right here, right now. Have you ever found yourself in such chaos that you feel like you have so many things to do that all you get stuck in is appointments and activities and deadlines? Yes, so that's when you're in the present. And then you have those who you are so focused on your hopes and your dreams and the expectation of a future, or possibilities of what could be, that all you find yourself in is questions about what could be, and you know what I mean, and your vision and your dream and stuff like that. So those are the 3 different time zones with regards to your communication, your conversation. Who we are determines the actions we take, which determines the result we get. We never take an action that is inconsistent with whom we see ourselves to be. So where are you caught up? Do you find yourself caught up in memories, in past activities, in things that have already happened? Do you find your communication about that? Or do you find your communication about your current activities, what's on your timetable right now, and all the things that you need to get done right now because they're all urgent? Or do you find yourself focusing on your hopes, your dreams, the future, where you need to go and moving forward? Where do you find your communication, your conversations? Where do you find yourself? What do you find yourself talking about? Right? So being, action, and results. So being is future, is when you're thinking future. Action is when you're in the present and it's happening. And then the results now are based on things that would have happened in the past because it's already done, right? One of the things, so I'm just going to share with you, well, you would have already seen the image earlier showing you the 3 circles, right? And you'd have seen what they all entail for the future, the present, and the past. What you want to do in your brand, for you to grow, for your brand to grow, for your business to grow, you can't get stuck in the past. You cannot get stuck in the past. But what happens is, a lot of times we get stuck between the past and the present, and we have no plans for growth, no plans for going forward, no plans for how we're going to progress in the future, right? So a lot of us get stuck where we are, and you're getting some results. Incremental changes are happening. So you're thinking, okay, I'm getting by, but that's madness. It's called circumstantial drift, because what you're doing now is you're going through a cycle between past and present, and past and present, and past and present, and you're not really growing, you're not really progressing. You know what I mean? So you have to be mindful of those things. So recognizing our place in time, the 3 circles that you'd have seen earlier in the video. We experience time travel every time we speak. An important distinction to make when exercising leadership or building a brand is the distinction between the past, present, and future. Take something as simple as the conversation around the coffee table at the start of the day with you and your family or your friends. If we complain about the morning traffic, we are intellectually and emotionally living in the past. If we talk about possible topics for the upcoming staff meeting, on the other hand, we put ourselves in the future. We begin to create the future. Depending on how we wish to spend our time and what we want to accomplish, it would appear that having a conversation about future possibilities might be more useful and productive than lamenting about traffic jams. But this is only the start. Yes, only the start. We get up every day and we're doing hard work and we're getting stuff done. But we still remain in the past. We still remain in the past or stuck in the present. Yes. What if we were to use that energy? What if you were to use your energy and focus on futuristic goals? Yes? What if we asked more? What if we asked more questions and provide less answers? What if instead of thinking we have the answers as to what to do, we start asking more questions? Think about it. Being able to discern whether conversations are about the past, the present, or the future not only keeps us from wasting time, but it enables us to consciously change or shift the conversation into more useful modes. Instead of talking about what happened, we can make something happen. Instead of talking about what's holding us back, we can propel our project forward. Instead of managing breakdowns, we can achieve breakthroughs. Anytime someone talks about something that has already happened, they are in the past. They are talking about the realm of results that have already happened. This isn't a matter of tense of the verbs they use. For example, the statement, I think the major difficulty we have is the way we're organized, is in the past because it describes how things have been organized. Anytime someone makes a statement that generates action, they are in the realm of the present, even though the action may not have quite happened yet. For example, I'll get you those names and numbers as soon as I get back from my office, is in the present because it influences what is happening or about to happen right now. Such a statement creates action and activity. Finally, whenever a statement introduces or declares a new possibility, something that does not yet exist, the conversation is in the realm of the future. For example, what if we construct the display on site rather than building it in the factory? We tend to be a product of our past. Much of what we are today and will be tomorrow is shaped by what has already transpired in our lives and in the world around us. The future tends to be a continuation of the past, but it doesn't have to be that way. Creating a future that is a logical extension of the past is not something that happens from Creating a future that is a logical extension of the past is not something that happens from time to time. It is our normal way of operating. Understanding how the future is created is the most fundamental skill that you need when building a brand or moving towards any leadership role or deciding to launch a business and becoming an entrepreneur. Take away everything else, and the essence of leadership is creating and sustaining a viable future. Creating a brand, establishing a brand, launching a brand is about creating and sustaining a viable future, right? Envisioning and communicating a new future is a task most people, when establishing brands or building a brand, or people who are in leadership positions, intuitively pursue and accomplish. To do this, right? To do this, brand ambassadors or leaders or business owners, entrepreneurs must be able to shift from conversations rooted in the past to conversations that create a new and different future. And this can be so difficult to do sometimes, especially if you have the wrong people in your circles. And this is how sometimes you learn you've got to let some people go. Because some people are hell-bent on keeping you in the past and the present because all they want to talk about is what has already happened or what is happening, right? But you need to have people who bring about possibilities. If you don't have people who bring about possibilities, you will not win. It's that simple. You cannot win. You have to have people who decide that, listen, this needs to happen. How do we make it happen? How am I going to cultivate me as a person, an energy within me that attracts possibilities, that makes things happen, as opposed to sitting down and talking about what I can or cannot do, or stuck in, I don't know how to do that. You don't know how to do something, go learn how to do it. Because if you sit and say you can't do something, is that you have not yet desired to learn and discover how to do it. Go learn to do it. And one of the things you have to learn how to do, and as a coach, it's something that I struggle with as well, is to not let people live off your brain, because they will do so because of laziness. People will come and think, okay, I don't have to go do the work because I can just come to you and ask you something. I can just come to you and get a solution. I can just come to you and ask you about this or get this answer for so and so. No, you can't. You have to go discover things, because there are things that you can discover on your own that I may never even have yet understood or garnered, because our purposes are different. And if we're connected because of purpose, right? So if you don't go and do what you need to do and challenge yourself, guess what happened? We're not surviving as a team, we're only surviving as one person, which means that even though we are actively in a group and in a union and is supposedly operating in a team, We're not. We're still operating on one. So we can't have a result of a team. So that's something to be mindful of, okay? Anytime we take action based on opinions, assessments, and interpretations, the best we can hope to achieve is incremental change. However, what is worse, in some situations, we will unknowingly take actions that perpetuate the situation or problems we're trying to change. This becomes an endless cycle, and that's what we call circumstantial drift, when you're stuck between what has already happened and where you are today. What has already happened and where you are today. If you find yourself having conversations about the past, change it. And instead of providing answers, start asking questions. Start asking questions. What if I were to become this? Or what if I were to do this? What would happen? Explore. Learn new things. Become uncomfortable. Become uncomfortable. Right? Because growth will never happen until you do so. As a leader, we live more of our life in the future while the people we lead stay mostly in the past or present. Our job is to think about and draw outlines of the future for others. The future begins with a conversation, first within our heads, then with others. Right? Always think through your process first. And I also want to say, pray about it first. Talk to God about it first, then others. The future begins with a conversation, first within our heads and within others. And then with others. But what I'm saying is, pray about it first. So let it begin first with your mind, in your mind, yes, and then have a conversation with God, right? Have a conversation with Him. And if someone is doing this course and you don't believe in God, that's okay too, because I'm not trying to tell you what your God is. Yes, you know who your God is. You know who your creator is. Yes? There's only one God as far as I'm concerned. So I'm saying, speak to your supreme being about it before you speak to others about it. Yes? To make sure that it's within purpose and that is something that because you wanna ask Him, Lord, I desire this. Is this your will? If it's your will, let it be done. Right? Then engage others and bring others into it. It begins with a possibility, a commitment, a vision, a dream. Everything we create begins with a conversation that grows and grows. The action that follows is based on a new possibility, not the past. Without a new possibility to drive action, by default, action is driven from the past domain into the more, better, different trap. Let me read that again. The action that follows is based on a new possibility, not the past. Without a new possibility to drive action, by default, our action is driven from the past domain into the more, better, different. The more, better, different. The more, better, different. That's what we get stuck in the more, better, or different. But it's still a trap because we're still stuck there. If past conversations drive action, we will tend to make incremental change. But we're not going anywhere fast. See? So change is happening, or it seems you can see little change happening, but nothing big is happening, no breakthroughs. These distinctions about past, present, and future are critical in personal branding, as well as leading others or enrolling customers onto your brand, or getting buy-in from stakeholders to your brand. They are the foundation of conversations for possibility, and unless we are able to bring them to the surface, we will be consigned to conversations about our past rather than conversations for the future. Have you ever been having someone tell you about a plan they have or a project, and all they're telling you about is all the failures or all the issues they've had? It's just purely past conversations, and you want to support them, but you just find that you can't, because there's nothing you can do about what has already happened. So even though you're sitting there and you're with them and you care and you're like, oh my goodness, which is why if someone is going through something, let's say someone is grieving because something has happened, and the person's talking about the thing that has happened, how do you find yourself showing up for them. It's like you're stuck. You're like, oh, all you can do is sit there and maybe hug them or hold them or just say, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your pain. I'm so sorry. You feel helpless because you cannot go into the past to do anything. So in effect, by the person living in that story, there's nothing you can do to help them. That person has to be willing to say, I am not quite sure where next to go, or come up with a question that you can then say, what can I do here? I hear your question. And then you can say, well, you know what? I'll think about that too. I never thought about it before. Or, I've thought about that before. And this is something that I've done or I've seen done. You are able to at least engage for a for a solution. You're able to even think about it. So be conscious of how your conversations are rendering your customers, your stakeholders, your supporters, your potential supporters, your partners helpless. Be careful how your communication, your conversations are rendering them helpless, so they can't help you because you are either in the past or you're tied up in the future. I've worked with persons who are so busy and so tied up in the future. It's almost like you can see the great potential that they have, but you don't know what to do because they are tied up in the present and they're tied up in the chaos of what is happening. So you can't even, no solution can even come to their problem because there's no future thinking. There's no energy given to the future. There's no priority given to how do we move from here. So we get constantly stuck in the, oh my God, I need to get this done. I need to survive here. I need to, one of the things that God taught me, and I remember I was going through a really, really tough times and I hadn't eaten for about 10 days. And it was coming up to another weekend of me not having anything to eat. And I remember I was bawling. I was on the ground and I was just bawling. And I was, Lord, please, I'm hungry. And the only thing I could think about was my here and now and the fact that I was so hungry. And I remember as he spoke to me as loudly as I'm speaking to you right now. And he said, stop praying a prayer of need and struggle. Pray a prayer of gratitude. Be thankful for everything you have. Start saying thank you for every single thing you have. And then he said to me, the drowning man syndrome, get out of it. Get out of the drowning man syndrome. And I remember a lot, he gave me exactly what that was, and I wrote it down. It's coming in the book that we have. We have a text for this course, which is coming really soon, and you're gonna see exactly what you learn, exactly what the drowning man syndrome was about. And the moment I stopped and I started being thankful, not only was I able to be thankful for what I had, I was able to assess what I didn't have and where I potentially needed to be. And I started assessing, okay, so what do I need to do to move from here? I'm going to make sure I never get hungry again. And Lord, I want you to promise me that. I'm asking you today to help me never to be hungry again. And I want you to open my mind. And I remember I went into my closet where I always pray, and I was thinking. I thought so hard. I was so thinking about possibilities, like what can you do? What can you do? And I remember I was thinking so hard I could literally feel my brain hurt. I felt literal pain in my brain. But what came next was amazing, right? Because that was the beginning of me recognizing my purpose and pursuing, right, the career as a coach. That was where it happened. And I remember I got $1,000, and I'm in Jamaica. Jamaican dollars, $1,000. One of my friends came to me. She brought me food, and she didn't just bring me food. I didn't even know she was coming. She came in the rain, cooked for me. Thank you, Althea. Cooked for me, combed my hair. And I don't remember if she gave me $1,000 or how I got the $1,000, but that's all I had. And I remember sitting down and I'm like, I am not just going to buy some food to eat with this. See, I had to remove myself from my past and present. I had to now say, how do I use this $1,000 in such a way? How do I invest it? How do I multiply this $1,000? See, when we get stuck, but what I had to do is I had to I had to feel the pain that was present and be willing to say, I'm going to bear this suffering. Whatever the loss is going to be today, I'm going to have to bear it because I need better. Some of us are holding on to current things, to present things, to past things. We're holding on so tight that we can never have the future that we hope for. You have to be willing to let go of the here and now and the past to step into the future. You have to. And it begins with your speech acts. It begins with your conversations. It begins with your words. I have some people around me who are just so, I can see the promise. I can see the potential, but they're so stuck in the present and the past that what their divine success is not even close to them, because their speech acts distance them from their divine success. So be careful how your speech acts is impacting your potential, your future. Be willing to speak possibilities, to speak life. Speak life. Thank you so much for joining us today. This was our session, second lecture for Learn Your Ideal Customer. I am Coach Raquel, and go win, go be great, and go let go and pursue some. If where you are isn't where you want to be, let it go. Stop holding on to something you don't want. If where you are, let's say you have a house, you have a car, but where you are currently is not where you want to be, let them go. Be willing to lose them to gain what you need. If where you are is where you want to be, then stay where you are. But if where you are isn't where you want to be, then go be where you want to be. Take the risk. Be willing to take the risk. Mind your speech acts, your conversations, recognizing your conversations in time. This is Mindfulness in Ministry, and I am Coach Raquel. And on behalf of Minister Carl and myself, thank you for choosing our course. Have a good day.